Have you ever noticed how some people earn respect the moment they speak, while others talk endlessly and still get ignored? You've been polite, reasonable, patient, yet you're interrupted, rushed, or quietly dismissed. Not because you lack value, but because your words are leaking power. Here's the hard truth most people never hear. Respect is rarely about what you say. It's about how grounded you are when you say almost nothing. In a world that rewards over-explaining, defending, and seeking approval, Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite path. The Stoics understood that the more you rush to justify yourself, the more you signal inner instability, and people, consciously or not, respond to that signal. Respect is not demanded, it is felt. It emerges when you are calm under pressure, slow to react, and comfortable with silence. When your words are few, deliberate, and rooted in self-command, others instinctively adjust their behavior around you. Today, I'll show you 6 simple Stoic words. Not to manipulate, not to impress, but to end weak positioning in conversations and restore your quiet authority. 1. I'll think about it. Taking back. Time and control. Most people lose respect long before they realize it, not through weakness, but through urgency. They feel the pressure to respond immediately, to prove they are cooperative, flexible, agreeable. Someone asks for a decision, a favor, a commitment, and before the nervous system has even settled, the answer slips out. Yes, okay, sure. In that moment, something subtle but powerful is lost. You didn't choose. You reacted. The Stoics understood this deeply. To them, the person who controls the pace controls the position. When you rush, you signal dependency on approval. When you pause, you signal sovereignty. Saying, "I'll think about it," is not hesitation. It is the reclaiming of time, and time is the space where judgment lives. This phrase works because it interrupts expectation. Most people expect instant compliance or instant resistance. What they don't expect is a calm delay. When you say, "I'll think about it," you are neither agreeing nor opposing. You're stepping out of the emotional current and placing yourself on higher ground. That alone shifts the power dynamic. Think about how often you've agreed to things that later drained you. Extra work, social obligations, conversations you didn't want. You told yourself it was easier to say yes than to deal with discomfort. But each rushed yes quietly trained people how to treat you. They learned that your time was accessible, negotiable, flexible to their needs. "I'll think about it" rewrites that training. It tells the world, my time is considered. My decisions are deliberate. I do not move on impulse. This is not arrogance. It is self-respect expressed through restraint. From a Stoic perspective, this phrase reflects mastery of what is within your control. You cannot control others' expectations, reactions, or urgency, but you can control your response. You can slow the moment down. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily not to be dragged by impressions. This is exactly that practice, spoken aloud. There is also emotional courage here. Many people fear that pausing will make them look indecisive or weak. In reality, the opposite happens. Calm delay unsettles manipulative behavior. It exposes those who rely on pressure, and it earns silent respect from those who value clarity and strength. Use this phrase especially when your body feels tense, when your chest tightens, when you sense you're being rushed. That tension is a signal. The Stoic does not override signals. He listens to them. "I'll think about it" becomes a boundary without conflict. Over time, something changes. People stop pushing as hard. They ask instead of demand. They wait. Not because you explained yourself, but because your presence trained them to. Respect grows not from confrontation, but from consistency. The goal is not to delay forever. The goal is to decide from a place of calm authority. When you finally respond, whether yes or no, it lands heavier, because it came from choice, not pressure. This is how you take back control, not loudly, not aggressively, but quietly, through a single sentence that says everything without saying too much. Remember, this is not about strategy alone, but about identity. Each time you pause instead of rush, you reinforce an inner standard. You teach yourself that your worth is not measured by speed or compliance. And slowly, steadily, that inner standard becomes visible. People feel it before they understand it. That is the quiet beginning of respect. It starts here, in this small, disciplined pause. 2. That doesn't work for me. Boundaries without explanations. Many people don't struggle with respect because they lack kindness. They struggle because they give too much of it away, too quickly, without limits. Somewhere along the way, you learned that being agreeable kept the peace, that explaining yourself made you seem reasonable, that saying yes was safer than risking tension. So when something feels wrong, inconvenient, or misaligned, you soften it, you justify, you apologize. You negotiate your own boundaries down to nothing. Stoic philosophy cuts through this pattern with brutal clarity. You are responsible for your choices, not for managing everyone else's comfort. When you say, "That doesn't work for me," you are not rejecting a person. You are honoring a boundary. And boundaries, when stated calmly, are one of the strongest signals of self-respect. This sentence is powerful because it refuses the trap of over-explanation. Most people expect a story. They expect reasons they can argue with, emotions they can push against, guilt they can leverage. But this phrase offers none of that. It is neutral. It is complete. It closes the door without slamming it. Emotionally, this is difficult for many people. The urge to explain is not weakness. It is fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being disliked, fear of appearing selfish. Yet the Stoics understood something most people never practice. Clarity is kinder than compliance. When you blur your boundaries to keep others comfortable, resentment grows quietly inside you. Think about the times you agreed to things that felt wrong, then blamed yourself for feeling drained or bitter afterward. That bitterness wasn't caused by the request. It was caused by your silence about what didn't work for you. Each unspoken boundary becomes a small betrayal of yourself. "That doesn't work for me," repairs that betrayal. It tells your nervous system that you are safe to tell the truth. It teaches your mind that you do not need permission to protect your time, energy, or values. Over time, this creates inner alignment, and inner alignment is felt by others immediately. From a Stoic standpoint, this phrase reflects the dichotomy of control. You cannot control whether others like your boundaries. You can control whether you state it honestly. When you accept that trade-off, fear loses its grip. You stop negotiating your dignity for approval. Notice something important. People who respect you will not argue with this sentence. They may be disappointed, but they will adjust. Those who push back, guilt trip, or demand explanations reveal something valuable. They were never responding to reason. They were responding to access. This phrase quietly changes the rules. It says your cooperation is optional, not guaranteed. It resets expectations without hostility. And it does so while keeping your posture calm, not defensive. Over time, you will feel a shift inside. Your eyes become cleaner. Your no becomes lighter. You stop rehearsing explanations in your head. You sleep better. That is not a coincidence. That is integrity returning. The Stoic does not seek conflict, but he does not avoid truth. "That doesn't work for me" is truth without drama. It is strength without aggression. And when spoken calmly, it teaches others how to approach you. Respect grows here, not because you demanded it, but because you finally stood where you actually are. That is the quiet power of a boundary spoken without apology. And once you experience this steadiness, you will never willingly return to shrinking yourself for anyone ever again fully. 3. I understand. Calm without surrender. Few words are more misunderstood than "I understand." Most people hear it as agreement, as surrender, as weakness. They assume that to understand someone is to give ground, to step back, to let the other person win. Because of that misunderstanding, many people avoid saying it at all. They interrupt instead, they defend, they escalate. And in doing so, they lose respect without realizing why. Stoicism teaches a quieter, stronger interpretation. To understand is not to submit. It is to acknowledge reality without being controlled by it. When you say, "I understand," you are not accepting blame, nor are you validating behavior. You are signaling emotional intelligence, composure, and control. You are showing that you are not threatened by another person's feelings, tone, or intensity. In tense moments, most conversations fail because both sides are fighting to be heard. Voices rise, words multiply, the atmosphere tightens. But the Stoic sees something different happening beneath the surface. The other person is often not asking to be proven wrong. They are asking to be seen. When you say, "I understand," calmly and without sarcasm, you remove the fuel from the fire. This phrase creates respect because it demonstrates strength without dominance. You are not reacting. You are not defending your ego. You are standing steady while acknowledging the situation as it is. That steadiness changes the entire dynamic. People instinctively lower their guard around someone who is not trying to overpower them. Emotionally, this can feel risky. You might fear that saying "I understand" will trap you, that it will be used against you later. But notice the Stoic distinction. Understanding is not agreement. You are free to understand and still choose differently. You are free to understand and still say no. This separation is where inner authority lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote about seeing events clearly without adding unnecessary judgment. This phrase is a verbal expression of that practice. You're recognizing another person's perspective without absorbing it into your identity. That is emotional discipline in action. In real life, "I understand" often pauses conflict in a way arguments never can. It tells the other person, "I hear you," without saying, "You're right." It shifts the conversation from combat to clarity. And clarity earns respect because it shows you are not ruled by impulse. Over time, using this phrase reshapes how people engage with you. They stop trying to overwhelm you emotionally. They sense that pressure will not move you. That calm becomes your reputation. Not loud, not intimidating, just solid. There is also a deeper internal effect. Each time you say, "I understand," without surrendering your position, you reinforce trust in yourself. You learn that you can remain open without becoming exposed. You can be compassionate without being pliable. That balance is rare, and rarity commands respect. The Stoic does not need to win every exchange. He needs to remain aligned with reason. "I understand" protects that alignment. It keeps your nervous system regulated and your mind clear. From that place, your next words carry weight. Respect grows here, in this quiet mastery. Not because you silenced someone else, but because you refuse to be destabilized. When people feel that steadiness, they respond differently. They listen. They slow down, and often, without you demanding anything at all, they meet you at your level. 4. That's not necessary. Removing drama and power plays. In many conversations, respect is quietly lost through unnecessary intensity. Someone apologizes excessively. Someone explains too much. Someone turns a simple moment into emotional theater. And without realizing it, you are placed in a position above them or beneath them, neither of which creates balance. Stoicism teaches that power games thrive on excess emotion. Calm simplicity dismantles them. "That's not necessary" is a phrase that restores equilibrium without embarrassment. This sentence works because it removes drama instead of feeding it. When someone over-apologizes, they unconsciously invite you to reassure them, to manage their feelings, to participate in their anxiety. When someone over-explains, they are often seeking validation or control. By saying, "That's not necessary," you decline the invitation. You refuse to escalate the emotional weight of the moment. You keep the interaction clean. Emotionally, many people hesitate to use this phrase because they fear appearing cold or dismissive. But the Stoic understands the difference between cruelty and clarity. You're not rejecting the person. You are rejecting excess. You are saying, "We don't need tension here." That restraint communicates confidence far more effectively than sympathy overload ever could. From a Stoic perspective, this phrase reflects inner order. Marcus Aurelius warned against being pulled into other people's storms. Excessive apology, justification, or emotional display is often a storm disguised as humility. "That's not necessary" is how you step aside without judgment. You do not correct. You do not lecture. You simply lower the volume. In social dynamics, drama creates hierarchy. One person performs emotion, the other becomes the audience or the judge. Neither position is equal. When you remove drama, you remove the hierarchy. You bring the interaction back to neutral ground. This is why the phrase earns respect. It signals that you are not interested in emotional leverage, only clarity. There is also a quiet self-respect in this response. You are not absorbing responsibility for emotions that are not yours. You are not rushing to soothe discomfort you did not create. Over time, this protects your energy. It teaches others that you are stable, not reactive. Stability is deeply attractive, especially in a world addicted to emotional extremes. Use this phrase gently, without sharpness. Tone matters. The power is not in dominance, but in steadiness. When spoken calmly, it relaxes the room. People often feel relief, even if they don't admit it. Excess emotion is exhausting. Your calm gives permission for simplicity. Internally, this phrase trains you to tolerate silence and neutrality. You stop filling space with explanations. You stop rescuing others from their own discomfort. That restraint builds quiet authority. Respect grows when people sense that you are not easily pulled off center. "That's not necessary" is not a shutdown. It is an invitation back to balance. And balance, more than charm or intensity, is what people instinctively respect. When you consistently remove drama instead of rewarding it, your presence becomes grounding. Others adjust, conversations become cleaner, and without force or confrontation, your position strengthens. This is how Stoic authority is expressed in everyday moments. Not through correction, not through superiority, but through composure. Each time you refuse to participate in an unnecessary emotional display, you reaffirm your inner order. Others feel that order immediately. They slow down, they regulate themselves. Respect emerges naturally when your presence signals that chaos will not be mirrored, rewarded, or amplified. This restraint becomes your signature, shaping how people approach and remain with. 5. I've decided. Ending negotiation. Energy. There is a subtle moment in many conversations where respect quietly slips away. It happens when you speak as if your choices are still up for debate, even after you've already made them internally. You say, "I think," "I'm not sure," "maybe," not because you truly doubt yourself, but because you fear resistance. In that moment, you invite negotiation into a space where clarity should live. And once negotiation enters, authority begins to dissolve. Stoic philosophy treats decisions as sacred. A decision, once made through reason, is not an emotional suggestion. It is a conclusion. When you say, "I've decided," You are not being rigid. You are honoring the work you've already done internally. You are signaling that the thinking phase is complete. What remains is execution. This phrase carries weight because it closes loops. It tells the listener that you have reflected, evaluated, and chosen. There is no insecurity in it, no need for reinforcement. People feel that firmness immediately. Even those who disagree sense that pushing further would be pointless, and that sense alone changes how they treat you. Emotionally, many people avoid this phrase because they confuse decisiveness with aggression. They worry about being seen as stubborn, inflexible, or unkind. But the Stoic understands that clarity is not cruelty. Indecision, on the other hand, creates confusion and invites pressure. When you speak clearly, you spare everyone unnecessary tension. Marcus Aurelius wrote about acting according to one's best judgment and then moving forward without hesitation. "I've decided" is that principle spoken aloud. It reflects inner alignment. You're not waiting for permission. You're not scanning faces for approval. You are standing on reason, not reaction. Notice how often people challenge those who sound uncertain, and how rarely they challenge those who sound resolved. This is not because the resolved person is always right, but because resolution signals self-trust. And self-trust commands respect. There is also a personal cost to avoiding this phrase. When you soften decisions after making them, you erode your own confidence. You teach yourself that your judgment is fragile, negotiable, dependent on others' reactions. Over time, that internal erosion becomes visible. Others sense it and push where they feel space. "I've decided" repairs that erosion. Each time you say it calmly, you reinforce your inner authority. You remind yourself that you are capable of choosing and standing by those choices. That reinforcement builds momentum. Decisions become cleaner. Anxiety decreases. Your posture shifts. This phrase does not require explanation. If you add explanations, it loses power. Explanations reopen debate. Stoic speech is economical. Say what is necessary, then stop. Silence after "I've decided" is not awkward. It is grounding. It signals completion. In relationships, work, and daily life, this sentence teaches others how to engage with you. They learn that your boundaries are real, your time is considered, and your choices are not provisional. Respect follows not because you demanded it, but because your clarity made it inevitable. Ultimately, "I've decided" is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself. It is about trusting the quiet process that led you here and refusing to abandon it under pressure. When people feel that steadiness, they stop testing you. They listen. They adjust. This is the Stoic way of ending negotiation energy without hostility. Calm, final, grounded. And once this becomes part of how you speak, you will notice a profound shift. Conversations shorten, resistance fades, and respect, no longer chased or requested, begins to meet you where you stand. 6. I'm comfortable with that. Total Stoic authority. There are moments when people test you, not with words, but with judgment, a raised eyebrow, a skeptical tone, a subtle suggestion that you should explain yourself. In those moments, many people feel the instinct to defend, to clarify, to prove that their choice is reasonable. And every time they do, they hand their inner authority away. Stoicism offers a different response, one that is quiet, grounded, and deeply unsettling to pressure. I'm comfortable with that. This sentence carries power because it ends the need for approval. It does not argue, it does not justify, it does not ask to be understood. It simply states inner alignment. When you say it calmly, you're telling the other person that their discomfort does not dictate your behavior. That alone shifts the balance. Emotionally, This is one of the hardest phrases to use. It forces you to sit with the possibility of being misunderstood. It requires tolerance for silence, for disapproval, for raised tension that is not immediately resolved. Most people avoid this discomfort their entire lives. The Stoic walks directly into it because he knows that peace comes from self-agreement, not external validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote about being satisfied with one's own judgment when it is guided by reason. "I'm comfortable with that" is the spoken form of this discipline. It signals that you have already made peace with your choice internally. There is nothing left to negotiate. This phrase is especially powerful when you are being subtly shamed. When someone questions your pace, your boundaries, your priorities, or your refusal to engage. Instead of counterattacking or over-explaining, you remain still. You acknowledge yourself. That stillness often creates unease in others because it cannot be controlled. Respect grows here because most people expect insecurity. They expect movement. They expect emotional reactions. When none comes, they recalibrate. They sense that pressure will not bend you. That sensing changes how they speak to you from that point forward. Internally, this phrase rewires your relationship with discomfort. Each time you use it, you prove to yourself that you can survive judgment without shrinking. You stop abandoning your position for temporary relief. Over time, this builds an unshakable center. You no longer scan rooms for approval. You stand where you stand. "I'm comfortable with that" is not arrogance. It is humility rooted in self-knowledge. You're not claiming superiority. You're claiming responsibility for your own choices. That responsibility is deeply attractive because it is rare. The Stoic does not need to win arguments. He needs to remain intact. This phrase protects that integrity. It keeps your nervous system calm and your mind clear. From that place, respect arises naturally, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. When you no longer need permission to be at peace with yourself, conversations change. People feel it, they slow down, they listen, and often, without saying anything at all, they step back. That is total Stoic authority. This is the final lesson. Authority is not loud, defensive, or performative. It is quiet agreement with yourself under pressure. When you can remain settled while others push, question, or doubt, you become immovable. That immovability is felt instantly. It teaches others how to approach you, how far they can go, and where they must stop. And from that centered place, respect no longer feels earned. It feels inevitable, steady, and permanent. Without force, without fear, without explanation. What you've learned today is not a set of clever phrases. It is a way of standing in the world. 6 simple Stoic sentences, each pointing to the same inner truth. Respect follows self-command, not effort. When you say, "I'll think about it," you reclaim time. When you say, "That doesn't work for me," you honor your boundaries. When you say, "I understand," you stay calm without surrender. When you say, "That's not necessary," you remove drama. When you say, "I've decided," you end the negotiation. And when you say, "I'm comfortable with that," you anchor yourself beyond approval. Stoic philosophy teaches us that words only carry weight when they reflect an aligned inner state. So don't rush to use all 6 at once. Choose one phrase that speaks to where you feel weakest right now. Practice it deliberately over the next 7 days. Say it slowly. Say it calmly. Then allow silence to do the rest. Notice how people respond. More importantly, notice how you feel when you no longer rush, justify, or shrink. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this message resonated, share it with someone who needs to reclaim their inner authority. And if you want to continue building calm, strength, clarity, and self-mastery through Stoic wisdom, make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next video.